Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming onto this channel. Welcome to Nava's channel. This is the first lesson in the series of lessons which I will be teaching the Vedic astrology and trying to simplify it. I will try to relate it with the real world and I'll try to make it easier and simplify it for everyone to understand. Because astrology in reality is complex. It's really deep and it's really occult and complex. And that's what I will try to do to make it easier and simplified because no one has a lot of time to read books, which I did. And that is basically the purpose of making the filming the videos. Now, before jumping into the actual videos, I would like to take a few minutes to answer the two most common questions which every beginner has, which I also had one time when I started learning astrology. Basically, the first question was, what is astrology? What is astrology? Astrology, in the simplest terms, is the study of planets, stars, and understanding how their placements and movements impact our lives. Like as planets are constantly moving in the space, right? And each planet emits a certain energy. So astrology studies that energy, studies how that energy impact our lives and how we can use that energy to make better life decisions. And that brings me to the next question, which is really basic and every beginner has it. Like, why do we study astrology? The answer to this question can vary from astrologer to astrologer, from person to person, to be honest. But if I explain that in very simplified way, astrology can help us in making better life decisions, period. It can be used as a second reference. Some people use it, some people, after all the logical decisions of all the scientific analysis performed on their any life decisions which they are trying to make, like changing jobs or marrying someone or choosing a career options, or like very basic decisions such as choosing the color of your new car which you are planning to buy, right? These decisions, after all the scientific and logical analysis, astrology can be used as a sanity check too, right? As like, let's see what astrology has to say about it, and see if that makes sense. And that's what I recommend to the most people, right? That it's better to learn something new, which I feel that, and which can potentially help us in making better life decisions. And trust me, I've seen it working in the real world. So I'll be teaching Vedic astrology, as I said, which was written hundreds of years ago by Maharishi Parashar. I follow Vedic astrology written by Maharishi Parashar, and and basically we'll leave it up to you if that makes sense. I will be teaching the facts. I'll be teaching what was written by the Maharishis, and we'll leave the open end to you to make judgments, to make assessments if that applies into your own life. Chart. Okay, in this video, we will not be going into super details, just will be touching on a very high level what the astrological chart is. So you get an idea that what are we talking about. So let me start off first of all with this one. You might have seen something like this in the past. And if you have not seen like this in the past, that's okay. Do not worry about it at this time. So, what is this? What does the chart signify? What does it mean? How is it made? Why does it look like this? So, on a very high level, as I said, we will be studying the planets, right? In astrology. So, planets are up in space and they are constantly moving. They have their fixed locations with respect to the Earth, and they have their relative rotational speed and revolutional speed across around the sun. Each planet, like Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, all of it. So, based on the person's birth details, a snapshot is taken into the space in that particular time period, in that particular uh, space, based on the location wherever the person is born in the on the earth. A snapshot is taken of the space, and this is how the snapshot has been graphically drawn on the paper by the rishis, maharishis. So the space has been divided into 12 different sections. These also sections are known as houses. We call them houses in astrology. There are 12 houses. Now, how do we count the houses? Right? We always count them anti-clockwise. So, in this direction. So, start off with this one, the center one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on up to 12. Right? So, this is the first house. This is the seventh house. This is 12th house. This is fourth house. Okay. So, that's how we count them. And based on in which astrological sign the planet has been situated in that particular snapshot during the birth time of the person, astrological chart is made. Now, as I said, there are 12 different houses. So on, there are 12 different astrological signs also, or we can call them constellations also. Each sign has their own significance. So for now, just understood that there are different signs, but what does each sign signifies? We will go that in further detail in future videos. So there are 12 houses, 12 astrological signs, and then there are 9 planets too. Now you would say, which are those planets, right? There are planets like Sun. Sun is considered as a planet in astrology. Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Rahu, and Ketu. Now, if you see, these two are also called shadow planets. The reason they are called shadow planets is they don't really exist in the real world, right? There are only 7 planets in our solar system, and other than, well, if sun and moon are not planets in the real world, but we consider them as planets in astrology. And Rahu and Ketu are, they don't exist in the real world, so that's why they're called as shadow planets. So what does Rahu signify? What does Ketu signify? What does basically each planet signify? And as I said, energy, right? What does each planet radiating, or what energy that planet is radiating, that we'll be studying in future videos. So coming back to this point, there are 12 houses and 12 astrological signs. So which astrological signs are we talking about, right? So let me write them here. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and so on up to Pisces. I will not spend too much time to write each and every sign's names. Some are really too long. So each sign, from where the sign came and what does sign represent, it is really practical. Each sign has a different logo, and that logo also signifies how that sign would behave when placed in a certain house, right? As I said, astrology is complex, but I'm trying to make it simpler. And if you study step by step, it will make it really simple for you. So just to repeat what I explained in past 2 minutes, that this is the astrological chart, right? Let me use a different color. So this is the astrological chart, and there are 12 houses in the chart. Each house is representative of a section in the space. Now, this one is the rising sign. This is also known as the rising sign. So I can say it here. This is the rising sign. What does it mean? It means during the birth time, during the birth of the person, which astrological sign was rising from the east direction at that particular time, that sign is placed into this house, right? Take an example. A person A is born at a certain place, a certain time, and how would an astrological chart for that person would look like? So as I said, the sign, astrological sign rising from the east direction from that particular place at the particular time will be placed in this house, sign rising from the east direction. So that is kind of calculated based on the location of the sun and the sunrise time and the sunset times. So we don't need to go in that detail in this video. Just understand the sign rising from the east direction is considered as the one which comes into the first house. So for example, Aries, or let me take a kind of more general example, that let's say Gemini was rising from that particular uh, direction, from the east direction at that particular place and time. So, how would the other signs be placed in that astrological chart, or the remaining 12 houses? Basically, that order of signs remains the same. That Gemini is always going to be followed by Cancer, and then Leo, then Virgo, then Libra, then Scorpio, then Sagittarius, then Capricorn, Aquarius, then Pisces, then Aries, and then Taurus. Okay, so this becomes the astrological chart for that person based on the houses, the 12 houses. Houses numbers still remains the same. Note that this is still the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This still remains the same. House number will always remain the same. The sign will keep on changing based on person to person. For one person, the signs also remain the same because, as I said, this is the snapshot at the birth time. So this always remains the same throughout the life. Now, the planets, coming to the planets which are placed into the astrological chart, they are placed based on the location of the planets into the space at that particular time, right? Like, so for the person A, what was the location of Jupiter during the birth time? As I said, planets are constantly moving. So, based on the person's location, birth time, all that in that particular snapshot, where the Jupiter was present. Let's say Jupiter was present in, let's say, Capricorn. So, Jupiter will be placed in 8th house, right? This is the 8th house. Number 8 is written here. Similarly, Saturn, let's say, was present in Pisces. So Saturn will be placed here. Similarly, other 9 planets like Rahu, Ketu, all that planets. Rahu, Ketu are generally kind of opposite to each other. So if Rahu is in 4th house, Ketu would always be in the 10th house. So we'll go into that later. That's not the topic for this video. So as I said, based on what the location of the planet was in that particular time period or in the space, based on that, the planets will be placed in the astrological chart. And that's how the astrological chart is created. Okay. So this was all about, that's all for this video. I would not go into detail, and I won't want you to get confused in the very first video. So that's all for this video, and we will go into details for each planet, for each astrological sign as mentioned today in the future videos. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for my future videos, because I'll be posting one video maybe each week to uh, to these series of videos. So thanks so much for watching the video and coming to the Novels channel. Have a great day. Thank you.